This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Welcome to the Ghee Spot Podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us for conversations around sex, spirit, and all things self-care. All things self-care. All things self-care.
This is a journey into sound.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
You are a Ghee Spot Podcast with Katie Silcox.
Hey, beautiful person. Welcome to the Ghee Spot. It is December, and I just wanted to reach out to you guys. I know you guys have been enjoying these podcasts with the teachers from our school. And if you follow us on Instagram, you may have been tuning in to our recent expression, which is mini spirit sessions with yours truly. So if you aren't following us on Instagram, please do so, because we are really coming to you almost daily with that good juju that's going to get us all through this incredibly potent time that we're living in. And by potent, I mean the shitstorm that is our lives right now. I just want to say that I really appreciate you, dear listener. I happened to be in Roanoke this past week, and I was taking a walk down by the river, as you do when you live in Roanoke. And I don't live in Roanoke. I was visiting my family, but I'm from there. And I saw this gal, and she was roller skating, and she had on the exact roller skates that I've been looking at on Amazon. And I went up to her and I was going to say, how do you like the skates? I think I may have even said that. And before I could even get a response, she said, "Oh my God, you're Katie Silcox. I'm a listener of the Ghee Spot." And I'm like, wow, it's always surprising to me that when someone who's a listener appears in, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional space. So Alexis, if you're out there listening, it was great seeing you the other day. And thanks for listening to the Ghee Spot. And thank all of you for being here with me. What's so beautiful about the realm of spirit is that it's a matrix, right? And we are able to connect with one another across these lines of time and across these lines of space and geography. And I know we have listeners all over the world. And so I just want you to know, dear, dear, dear one, that I am here and I am meeting you in that field of the heart. And so today we have a really special podcast. If you hear in the background, I've got a fire going. So if you hear some sounds of fire and crackling, that's what's happening. We're going to take a moment during this time as we enter into the winter solstice. That is another beautiful portal, right? This time when, as you know, the days are the shortest and the nights are the longest. And there is a deep wisdom and reason why we sit by fires in the winter and why we light up trees with candles and lights, and why we put lights in the windows, and why we string lights outside, and why we gather together and give one another gifts. There is a beauty in our lineage, and there's a beauty in these traditions. And I know you may be thinking, oh yeah, but Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, right? Wiccan, paganism, whatever you celebrate. There's a consumerism to it. And absolutely, that's true. All of our bodies are experiencing an overlay of the consumerism, mechanistic, patriarchal, on and on, right? Society, overly scientific that we live in. And, part of the work of doing spirituality and doing, really your undoing, right? The undoing is about interfacing with these overlays. We finish our last class in Shakti school this week, and we're going into the practice of Tarpana, or lineage healing. And so all of these bodies are holding overlays of the culture that we were born into. I mentioned on our Instagram spirit session this week, I'm reading the book Stalking Wild Soas, which I'll provide a link for in the show notes. But one of the things the author, Liz, says about being born, like just this being born, if you were born in a hospital, that overlay of experience is going to affect your nervous system. It's going to affect the way that you live and receive reality and perceive. If you were born in a home birth, if you were born in a bathtub, if you were born in the back of a taxi cab, right? If you were born wherever you were born, right? This is just one of the overlays, and there are hundreds and thousands of overlays. And so what is spirituality? What is yoga in that deepest sense of the word? And what it is the slow, hopefully, because if it were all at once, we would go mad. The slow release and the slow revelation of all of the overlays. In fact, the very definition of the word pranayama, which we have horrifically confused as the control of breath. I mean, that definition alone, my friends, tells you so much about the yoga culture that we've inherited. That is, whether it's the yoga culture from India or the yoga culture from the United States or the yoga culture from Europe, the yoga culture that we've inherited, that definition of pranayama as control of the breath, tells you so much about that controlling, perverse masculine that needs to control the breath. Now, that's not to say that there aren't moments when we need to guide the breath and we need to give structure to the breath, and a little bit of compassionate, loving structure can be of benefit. Of course, absolutely. But look at the word hatha, yoga. Hatha, as Richard Rosen so brilliantly reminds us, hatha means to force, to control and to force. So guys, listen, this is an overlay of the old way. Even when we turn to yoga, thinking it's going to bring us into this place of ease and surrender and opening and enheartenment, we see that even in our religious institutions and our spiritual institutions and our esoteric institutions and our medical traditions, including Ayurveda, we have to keep a very loving and vigilant eye to the way in which this perverse control, this perverse need to dominate nature, this perverse need to force, shows its face in every part of our world. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need to raise our arms and do warrior one and have good alignment. And that doesn't mean we don't need to, find an even breath. It's simply an awareness of the overlays that exist. And the yoga tradition in its essence says that the definition of pranayama is not breath control. It's actually that the breath is, we begin like you would a lover to another lover. You begin to intimate. Is that a word? Intimate. Have intimacy with the life force that rides along your inhale and your exhale. You have a wave inside of you. You have a pulsation inside of you. You have a life force and a death force inside of you. You have a heartbeat. You have a breath. And in this spanda and in this pulsation, we are interfacing with the very biology of life itself. And this biology has a wisdom, as Emily Conrad calls it, the slime of life, right? This primordial piezoelectric fluid. And it's watery. And it's watery. And it's watery. Okay? So doing pranayama, the teachings say when one does pranayama, in other words, when one interfaces and becomes intimate with the life force within her body that is not related to thinking, that is not related to cognition in the sense of analyzing and intellectualizing, when we interface with that, we begin to interface with something wiser. And what's so beautiful is that the teachings say the end result, I believe this is from the Yoga Sutras, if not the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. One of you yoga geeks out there can let us know. But the end result of doing pranayama, in other words, guys, the end result of working with your energy is that, quote, the veils that block the light are removed. You got it? The overlays, the cultural overlays are removed. The social overlays are removed. The racial overlays are removed. The gender expectation overlays are removed. And guess what? You just get to be you. You get to be you, and you get to know who you are. And this work is never done, right? Like, I am always humbled and amazed to see the ways in which my light has been constricted. And, you know, the thing about the unconscious stuff is that you aren't aware of that which you aren't aware of. And then you become aware, and you're like, holy moly, I can't believe I had all that going on in my belief system. I can't believe I had all that going on in my nervous system. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And now that you're aware, you can fill that space with light, which is who we really are at the end of the day. We're just these beings of piezoelectric liquid light interfacing on the vertical level with our creator above and our mother below. That's all our creator. And then from this vertical column of light, we get to like interface with all these other beings. So I welcome you into the season of the darkness, where we may feel ever more compelled to activate the light. That is why we light the candles. That is why we light the Christmas trees. That is why we light the menorah. And whatever tradition you're coming from, I can assure you, if we reach into the depths of these traditions, we will always find a light. We will always find a light. So let's do, on that note, a practice for tuning to the light. Feel your attention coming into your teacher, your inner teacher, your inner guide. Feel into your body right now, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, sensation, energetic. Just sense into this you, this experience and landscape of you. And here at Shakti School, we really place a big emphasis on your inner teacher as being this place inside of you that is sending you a signal right now of ease. Being in this place inside of you that's sending you a signal of you are good. Hey, you are okay. Hey, Doing a good job, little buddy. Right. Hey, where in my body am I getting a signal that I am holy and righteous right now? And another way of saying it, and this may resonate, where are you getting a signal of pleasure in your body right now? And I don't mean like orgasmic pleasure, although hello, if that's happening, good on you, mate. I mean the simple, non-addictive, everyday ecstasy that is the pulse of just being alive and being safe. Pleasure is your teacher right now. Ease is your teacher. Self-love, self-kindness. Take yourself off the hook. This is your teacher. And now you may relate to it as an inner father, an inner mother, an inner father-mother. You may relate to it as a god or a goddess that lives in you and around you. You may relate to it as a sense of nature, as light, as love. It doesn't matter. It is unique to you, and I don't know what it is for you because you are you and you are unique. But what I can share with you, if it could be of some benefit, is for me, I walk around this life holding so much pressure on myself to get it right. I walk around this life with so much pressure on myself to help other people and to get it right. And if you're a listener of my podcast, you might be a little bit like me. So, if you hold any perfectionism in your system, if you hold any judgmentalism in your system, notice that. And so, for me, I know that I'm stepping into my divine creative light. I am stepping into the holy, holy ground. This power that's bigger than my ego and my story. I know that because I start to get this flood of kindness. There is a merciful presence that lives in me. And it feels really good. So, what is it for you? Where is it? Find it now. Where do I need to take myself off the hook? Where do I need to soften? Because our energy practice, our pranayama, our meditation, as one of my favorite teachers, Claudia Welch, says, she says, you can't do pranayama until you fall in love. You can't meditate till you fall in love. You can't do it because prana, that is our life, that is our light, she cannot flow through tension. So as we sit here together in this virtual meditative pleasure portal, guru of your own inner body together, just scan the environment of your inner world. And where am I not in the field of kindness to myself? It starts with you. And then when you find that pleasure, when you find that ease, when you find that self-kindness, guess what? Your problems don't go away. Am I right? No. But they are held within a field that is so much bigger. The problems are in proportion to truth. The truth is you are safe and you are supported, that this too shall pass. And so let's sit together in these final moments of practice, anchoring our attention into wherever your body is sending you signals of ease, goodness, mercy, safety, enjoyment. And noticing that thoughts will rise, and that is completely normal. And just see it as you would as if you were scuba diving and you look under the water and you see a fish, a sea anemone, a starfish. Maybe you see a shark, right? Some things are pleasing to you as thoughts. Some things are scary. Just witness them as you would, and continue to anchor into the prana, the light that rides the breath. Perhaps it will be helpful to bring your attention, if you notice yourself getting caught in the whirlwind of thought, to anchor into the navel, the pelvic floor, the legs, letting the mind rest in the belly, letting yourself exist in a way in that lowest, deepest part of you. Now, really gently let your left ear lower down towards the left shoulder as you tilt your head to the left. Letting the left ear drop towards the left shoulder, turn your eyeballs gaze to the left side of the room. And this helps activate, tone our vagal nerve, this rest and digest social nervous system, helping us come out of states of freeze, fight, flight. And there'll come a moment when you just feel like, okay, there's a little yawn or a little shift in the energy, a swallow, you can bring the head back up and just really take a moment to rest in that post effect of that stretch, and maybe a minute or 90 seconds of that stretch. Give yourself a lot of time here. And when you're ready, you can come back through center and take a moment, and then we'll do the other side. So the right ear drops to the right shoulder, and let the eyeballs look towards the right side of the room. Feeling that stretch throughout your eyes, all the way down your neck into the arm. Again, it may happen really quickly. It may take 60 to 90 seconds, but you'll feel, there's a shift. And when you feel that, bring your head back to center. Very nice. And now just again, finding that sense of the central channel, crown to the root. Notice if you feel a little different than when we first started hanging out. I sure do. And we have to continue to come back to this over and over and over again, especially if you are a sensitive one, especially if you are one of those children who may have not have gotten the perfect mothering or fathering, which is 99% of us. Maybe you were a child that sought refuge in a tree when you were a young girl. Maybe you were a child that sought refuge in a river as a young boy. Remember that. Below me, infinite nurturance of the Divine Mother. Maybe you are a child that sought refuge in song and dance. Just remember that. A child that sought refuge. And feel that refuge above and below, in front of you, behind you, right and left, central channel. Surround yourself right now as we close, sensitive, dear listener. Surround yourself in a circle of fire. It can be blue, it can be pink, it can be red, it can be any color you like. Circle of fire. Feel that sense of warmth and protection that does not keep the good from coming in. But creates a barrier of Agni, this power to digest, so that what comes in as purity for you. Good nurturance, good food, nutrition. I wish all of you a beautiful winter solstice. I'm so happy that we have this place called the Shakti School where we can join together and do these practices. I know for me, even as the teacher and the lead of Shakti School, this place of Ayurveda school in particular has been such a refuge for myself and so many students. We begin, you guys, January 13th. If you want to be a part of this year-long 300-hour experience together with myself and all these other incredible people that you've been meeting on the Ghee Spot, well, you got to join now because we start January 13th and we run throughout the whole year. There's only one day a year when you can sign up. So I hope all our listeners will join us because it is such an amazing time and a really potent time to do deep spiritual inquiry and to learn these beautiful ancient techniques that help us stay in the truth of who we really are. All right, my beautiful friend, have a wondrous day.
ফোটে ফুল আপন সুখে ফোটে ফুল